So hey guys, if you saw my last TR's Corner episode, I talked about the time when I was in Cub Scouts and I raced on the Pinewood Derby. And for this video, I want to talk about another event that would happen during my Cub Scout years that I always look forward to every year. And this event was pretty successful. Obviously it was a different kind of event than Pinewood Derby. Um, it was, I think, more than anything else, I like to see what people did for this event. I think it was one of those things where it wasn't so much what I did, but it was interesting to see what other people would do for this event. And it was called the Cake Bake Sale. And what we would have to do every year is every year you would come in, make an interesting cake. You wouldn't just make your average birthday cake. You wouldn't make your average anniversary cake. You would actually make a cake. You would actually make something out of cake. Like one year I made a Mario cake. Another year I made a Nintendo GameCube cake. There was a Taz cake I made one year. Obviously the help with my mom. Otherwise, these cakes would have never been possible. I could have never made these on my own back then. And it was a fun time. I don't remember every cake I ever worked on. I think that just goes to show that my cakes weren't really that memorable for this event. But it was really cool because we'd have people where because the Pinewood Derby was a big event for Cub Scouts. Someone would make an actual Pinewood Derby cake. They would make little Pinewood Derby cars out of cake, and there was one year. Every year we'd always have like fire truck cakes. We would have the firefighters there to sell these cakes to, and yeah, just a ton of interesting cakes. And how it would work is, just like an auction, you would auction them off, and then whoever was willing to pay the most money for it would get the cake by the end the time the event got done with. And so I think my cake, one of the years, I think one of my cakes went for like almost $100. I would say almost $200. It was pretty ridiculous how much people would pay for these cakes. And I think that the overall money went to charity or something like that. It was definitely a fundraising kind of event. And I want to say this event happened around Valentine's Day. I'm not 100% certain. I know it would happen like, spring, late winter. And I want to say maybe even it happened before the Pinewood Derby, but I'm not 100% certain on that. And but yeah, just some of these cakes people would make were just really, really amazing. I even remember, for me personally, I remember the GameCube cake being pretty cool. We'd had a box ready to go to make it look like you had a GameCube game with it. We had a GameCube controller that we would make. All the buttons were made out of candy. I think we used licorice as the cord for the controller and stuff. Really cool cake. And I think it was around the year that the GameCube came out. So, obviously right there and then, people are already going to want that cake because they thought it was cool that it looked like a game came with it, but it was clearly just a scan we did on a computer of something from a Nintendo Power magazine. And then we just taped it onto a box to make it look like a game came with it. So, um, but yeah, just some of the cakes people would make were just really, really neat. And some of these cakes, like I said, they went for a lot of money. And if you had a firefighter cake or something that a firefighter would want, those would sell for a lot of money because they would pay some really, really, they'd pay some good bucks for those cakes. And yeah, it was just a really fun event. I remember looking forward to every cake people would make that year. There was a friend of mine that would make some of like the most exotic, most extreme cakes you can imagine. So just some really neat designs that happened for those years. So that's today's story, guys. If you remember the cake bake sale from Cub Scouts, let me know down below. Definitely up there with the Pinewood Derby for something that I would do with the Cub Scouts every year that I would always look forward to. And yeah, if you have a Cub Scout story, if you have a cake bake sale story, feel free to list it down below or tell me about it down below. And I will see you guys here for our next video.